Hi, I'm waiting for the circle of doom to stop spinning, so then I will start talking louder. But in the meantime, I look at my beautiful t-shirt. Love yourself, love yourself. Hello, how are you? It's Chrissy, nice to see you. I haven't been live on my personal page for a few weeks, not since I announced my exciting dog food challenge. So I thought it's time to show up and be accountable on my personal page and to give you an update on my dog food challenge and what's been going on in all things in my world over the last kind of 30 to 40 days, which has gone super fast, but it's been immensely exciting time. So you remember the dog food challenge that I announced a few weeks ago? Here it is. It was to get my books in 20 bookshops around the world, complete a regional roadshow with my book, Health and Wellbeing Talks for Women, and Don't Be Afraid of Success. And that's what I committed to and asked you to hold me to accountable for the things that I commit to. So pleased to provide an update on that. My book, as of this minute, is available to buy in 16 retail outlets. I have two more that I'm waiting to hear back from tomorrow. And by the end of this week, I will approach another two more, and then that will have reached my target of 20. So that's super exciting. What I realized quite quickly is that bookshops are only one path for my book. There's also gift shops, there's fitness centers, there's well-being centers, there's wellness shops, there's grocery stores that sell organic health, as well as books dedicated to health and well-being. So my book has found a pathway of its own to many different providers and people who are interested in sharing it. So that was awesome. And Saturday was a great example where I took my book into a lovely gift shop. I showed it to the lady who owned the shop and I said, would you like to, this is a book I've just written. Within 10 seconds of me talking, she said, Mind, Body, Spirit. Yes, it looks beautiful. Yes, I'll take 10. So, without even doing anything, I was holding a coffee in one hand and my book in the other, and the book kind of sold itself. So that was amazing. And I was really pleased that there are people out there who are interested in having the book in a whole variety of different businesses, which opens my pathway to reach more people a lot broader and a lot quicker and a lot easier. And yesterday morning, I had a text message from a person I've never met in my life. How can I get a copy of your book? I said it's available to buy in Townsville in many different stores, or if you go onto my website, I can order a copy and I'll post it to you today and you'll have it tomorrow, or I'll drop it off for you. And literally then she messaged me back in the afternoon to say she'd stopped into Sprout grocery store, which is a whole food organic supermarket, and bought a copy of my book there. And I said, thank you so much for updating me. That's amazing news. And I'm really pleased. Because for me, it doesn't matter how somebody gets the book as long as they get it. So it's awesome. The second thing was to do the Regional Roadshow with a book, as well as Health and Wellbeing Talks for Women. So that has been brilliant. And I actually started Charters Towers, and then to Cairns and Ingham, and then Townsville and Ayr just this Saturday gone. And this Saturday I'll be back to Charters Towers. So I've almost completed my regional roadshow, and my health and wellbeing talks. I've done 4. I've got 3 more to do this week. One on Thursday during the day at 10 a.m., one on Friday night at 6:30 p.m., both those in Townsville, and then Saturday afternoon, 1 o'clock in Charters Towers. So we'll have done 7 wellbeing talks free by the end of this week, and it's just opened up so many amazing opportunities to collaborate, to share. And the big goal for me with the roadshow and the wellbeing talks really was to be able to connect with people, to introduce my idea around the wellness mindset, how to embrace well-being as part of your everyday life, but really just to enable social engagement, to support others, and to foster connections with people on a local and a regional level. And it's just really started to open up so many more opportunities to me, both personally as well as professionally, but also people saying, hey, I've recommended your talk to this person, I've recommended your book to that person, and every day something new and amazing and exciting has happened as a result of those free talks. And the funny thing was, when I went to Cairns, obviously, I don't really know that many people in Cairns, and so I wasn't really sure who would come. And I had the book signing in Cairns, and a few people came. They'd heard it on the radio, and I had the wellbeing talk. And on the morning of the wellbeing talk, my daughter Clodagh and I were walking through the hotel lobby, having just set up the room, and she said, "Mum, are you the only one in this hotel that's published a book and is doing a public speech today?" And I said, "Well, I don't know, Clodagh, but maybe. And she said, "I'm so impressed with you, Mum." Oh, thanks, Clodagh. That's really nice. And I thought, if the only person in the world that I impress is my 5-year-old daughter who turned 6 yesterday, then I'm happy. So that was a really special moment, and I'm glad I got to share that with her. So the wellbeing talks have been great, and I'm really delighted that people are enjoying them and getting value out of coming and listening to them. And then the third one was Don't Be Afraid of Success, and kind of that was a very personal challenge for me because there's a very fine line between promoting yourself, talking about yourself all the time, feeling successful, and self-promotion and getting a big head, which is typical in Australia for us to kind of cut down tall poppies and say, "Oh, she's just big noting herself," or, "Oh, she's just doing self-promotion." But when other people start promoting your work and saying it's of good quality, then half the job is done for you because you have less need really to be on the constant self-promotion bandwagon. But even just having the confidence to walk into a shop and say, "Hey, you've never seen my book before, you don't know me, here's my book. Yes, I'll take 10. Turning up at a radio station, here's my book, would you like to do an interview?" Yes. So these are things that I've been challenging myself to do consistently over the last 30 days, which have really again opened up so many new opportunities to me. So they not being afraid of success has been a good reminder to myself to kind of keep going, get out there, talk to as many people as I can. And it's been brilliant. And really what has inspired that is in steps 10, 11, and 12, 10, 11, and 12 of my book. It's really about that ongoing social engagement that we need in our life, opening up to new opportunities, being vulnerable, putting ourselves out there, exposing ourselves to new experiences, new people, and really just being devoted to health, your own health and well-being, and devoted to kind of living the 12 steps in parallel and in unison as you kind of go through your life. And I've noticed that so much for myself as well. And one thing that was quite funny that happened last year, it was in at Halloween. And Halloween, I've never been out trick-or-treating with Clodagh before. She'd always done that with her friends in London after school before I got home from work. So I'd never been on the trick-or-treat trail before. And I'm really not that huge a fan of Halloween, but I thought it's something that she loves to do, and it's something new for me. And we'd only not long moved into this house, and so I thought it's a good way to kind of go out and meet the neighbours and to say, "Hey, we're your new neighbours." So we got dressed up and we decided, we would go trick or treating. And in the meantime, Kieran and Cara stayed home and I bought them a pot of sweets, and we put a pumpkin at the front door and left the door open so people knew we were open for business. Cara was a screaming nightmare that day and probably scared away half the people that came to the door. And every house that we went to, Clodagh would usually say trick or treat, and they'd say trick, and she would tell a new joke. So I didn't know what was going to come out of her mouth because every house the joke was different. So it was almost like a comedy of errors as to what this child would actually come out with. But one neighbour who lives about 6 doors that way, I knocked on the door and the man answered, and he said, "Oh," I said, "Oh, trick or treat." And he said, "Oh, sorry, I'm really unprepared for this, and let me see if I've got something." And he went running off, and then when he came back I said, "Oh, we've just lived down the road and we've moved in." And he said, "Oh, nice to meet you." And we had a quick chat, and that was kind of, I think Halloween was late October, and then throughout kind of November, December, and this year I've started bumping into them more and more on the walking trail, on the running trail, him and his wife and their dog. And then I would bump into his wife when I was running, and running at park run, or just running on my own. So she's kind of become someone that I always say hi to when I'm running, and just have a little chat to, really. Now, I've never asked her what she does, and she's never really asked me what I do. But a few weeks ago, just before the newspaper ran the big story about the launch of the book, I bumped into her that evening on the running track, and I was nearby where the photographer had taken the photos. And I jokingly said, I was here today all dressed up, having photos taken. The paper running a story this weekend. You may see it. I've just launched a book. Now, this is obviously in July, and up until that point, I'd seen her lots of times and I'd never mentioned anything about the book, and I'd never asked her anything about what she did for a job. And she was like, "Oh, right, cool, that's really interesting." And she said, "Oh, where can I get your book?" And I said, "Well, just knock on the door and I'll give you a copy." So she finished walking the dog and then she knocked on the door and I gave her a copy of the book, and she said, "Oh, I'll buy it." I said, "No, no, that's fine. It's a gift for you." And she said, "Thank you," and she would pass it on. And so, that's about 6 weeks ago, and several times since then I've seen her on the walking track or the running track, and we've chatted and whatever. And then she said to me, "Oh, I work from home." And I said, "Oh, I work from home." And I said, "Maybe we should have lunch together one day because we both work at home." So it's funny because I messaged her last week, "Let's, make a day to have lunch at home." And then she called me on Monday morning, and she said this yesterday. And she said, "Oh, hi, Chrissy, it's, your neighbor." And we were chatting, and she said, "I've got something to ask you." And I said, "Yeah, okay, go on." What is it? And she said, "I'm shooting." Now, she had mentioned the word shooting in passing. Now, I know there's different types of shooting. There's film shooting, photography shooting, and shooting. And she didn't look like a shooting person, but I hadn't queried too much about what she was actually shooting. She said to me, "I've got a shoot at the moment and I'm needing to shoot someone who's doing X, Y, and Z. And I thought of you." And I said, "Oh, that's interesting. I'm either flattered or frightened. I'm not sure which." And we laughed. And she said, "And what I'd like to do is to take photos of you, and it's for a publication for Queensland Health. And I'd like you to do X, Y, and Z, and I'd like you to have your book in the photos." And I'm like, "Oh, aren't you clever?" So it's funny. And so tomorrow morning, she's coming here to my house to shoot me doing X, Y, and Z with a copy of my book in the photos, and that's going in Queensland Health annual report. So funny and phenomenal that a woman I've bumped into on the running track who lives a few doors down has now invited me to do this with her. And until yesterday, I didn't even know what her job was. So it's quite funny and special that I've able to create that friendship and that relationship with someone without knowing what her title was or what her job is or what she has done, because we've just formed a connection on a very personal level. So that was super lovely and exciting. Um, and then the other fun thing that happened a few days ago was Kittypedia, who I've written a few articles now and done some live podcasts, have invited me to be a contributing writer for their 2021 newborn magazine. So tomorrow and today I'm going to start writing the article for Kittypedia, and that's super brilliant to have some content to help new mums, their newborns. So I'm really looking forward to writing that. And then what else has happened? Amazingly, I'm all set now to go to Yungaburra Book Fair on the 22nd of August, and I've been doing a little bit of planning for that. And last week I finished writing my second book. So I've decided to use Yungaburra Book Fair as a platform to launch my second book. It's a children's book, and it's a collaboration with someone that I've known my entire life. In fact, she was a newborn baby when I was 10 years old, and I used to nurse her in my arms. And she's doing the illustrations, and I've written the story, and we had a production meeting on Friday, and we now have a good idea of how we want to start laying it out. So I'm going to start mocking up the covers this week, and then I'll put that book up for sale on my website and at Youngaborough Book Fair, and hope that it goes really well. And that's really brilliant and exciting to have a new product to share as I still carry on promoting Broken to Unbreakable. So many new collaborations are coming out of the woodwork as a result of just consistently showing up and talking about the stuff that I'm doing with a book, but more generally as well. And last week, I had a brilliant meeting with the team behind the Mentally Healthy City project here in Townsville. They run a whole series of engaging workshops, do a lot of activities in the community to help promote health and well-being. And, I told them in February this year I was writing a book, and I messaged them again recently to say, hey, the book is here. This is what I've been doing with it. These are my free wellbeing talks that I'm doing. Would you like to get together and have a coffee? And they said, yes, absolutely. So I, prepared some information for them. I met with them, I had a coffee. And then we had a follow-up meeting a few days later because they've invited me to be their mentally healthy city champion. So in August for 6 weeks, there's going to be a 6-week campaign around myself and the book, and utilizing the wheel of well-being, in which there's 6 steps to bring to life, hints and tips from the book, as well as from other aspects of my well-being journey. So that is brilliant, and I'm super proud to be invited to have the chance to do that and to share my book on a much broader level, but also to have the backing and support of that project is wonderful. So many cool things have happened in the past 6 weeks. I could probably be sitting here talking to you all day, but time is valuable, and I've got a lot of things I need to do this afternoon. Um, and I just really wanted to share that with you. The dog food challenge, I ain't eating no dog food because I feel like it's been a pretty good success. And I'm looking forward to the next 30 days and all of the opportunities that may come up, and to continue on the path that I have now set, which is to share this book as wide as possible and to carry on helping to connect, inform, and inspire other people with their paths to health and well-being. So thanks for watching today. It's great to see you. I have a radio interview which is being broadcast tomorrow. I'll add a little link to that later, and if you want to listen in, you can. And that's it. So have a great week. Thanks for watching. Love yourself, and see you again soon. Take care. Bye.